Verily, verily, I yea unto thee. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. I am indeed Diana Clarion. Yes, I had to think about my name for a minute there. The Lavender Lady. This is the Open Chat. And how the heck are you guys? Yes, absolutely no theme today. I woke up at 5 p.m. 2 hours ago. Come on, guys, give me a break here. If a stable milking stool is listening in, yeah, you did this to me, man. That 13-hour show on Sunday, slept for 2 days straight. I don't know about you, but but here we are in all our glory. Yes, with me is my co-pilot, my co-host, the one, the only, the brilliant, the beautiful Kate Farr, Bionic Dance. How are you, honey?
I have definitely been worse.
Okay, okay. That is a
Well,
good
of
thing,
all the days
right?
I've had, today has definitely been the most recent.
Yeah, you don't always know how to respond with that. Somebody says, "I have been worse," and okay, that means that you are not worse now, but you still feel kind of bad for that person because that person had felt worse at one time. Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised just how many people don't realize that's what I said. The sheer number of people who are like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're having a bad day." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. I've been worse than I
Yes.
am. Oh, forget it." You know, it's like it just somehow totally goes by them completely.
Oh, indeed. Well, there was a Fireside Theater skit on this as well. That was okay. People say, how are you and all that stuff, and they answer pretty good, but they really don't listen to what you say.
Mm.
And they did, I think, a minute and a half on people not listening to what you say, and I think it's pretty much the case where it's just syllables and sounds exchanged back and forth, and no information really.
Wait, sorry, what was that? I wasn't paying attention.
Right? Yes. Oh my, oh my. But other than that, yeah, it's we are a weird species. I wonder if chimps have the sort of exchanges that we do, where hi, how are you? Pretty good, but nobody's really saying anything. They're not conveying information to anybody because I'm sure that the other apes do indeed have conversations where they exchange information amongst themselves. Um,
Well, I always figure their conversations are limited pretty much to ook.
I don't know. It's really interesting to think about how one would converse when the physical language production is as limited as it is, because they just don't have the hardware that allows production of language such as we do. But I do get the impression that in one way or another they do exchange information. I'd really like to
Well, they
be.
must.
Say again?
They must.
Oh, absolutely. And it would really be interesting to get into a chimp brain and understand, to be able to. Well, your empathy helmet would really come in handy here.
Hmm.
Yeah, to
Well,
know
and I
what it
mean,
feels
we're
like.
not going to say necessarily that they don't have the hardware to create language. I mean, that assumes that it's a language that's similar to ours. But what if they're just as articulate, except that with a much more limited range of vocal possibilities?
Yeah, yeah, there you go. I'm reasonably sure that they've got well developed language production and perception areas, Broca's area, Wernicke's area, that sort of thing. What they don't have, at least compared to humans, is that whole throat arrangement and the glottis arrangement. The hyoid bone is in the wrong place, and all this other sort of thing to And then when I say in the wrong place, it's relative to such that they cannot produce the sort of sounds we do, but they've got to have something. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you talk about those like chimps and apes or whatever that learn sign language, and they can certainly have chats with us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Coco putting the moves on Robin Williams. I don't know if you've heard about that one.
No.
One of their meetings, Coco was signing to Robin, and Coco's handler or whatever was saying, "Yeah, she wants you to come back there with her, but I can't guarantee you safety if you do."
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not the only prurient beings here, or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Oh, TV Tube says someone's going to get their brain linked to a chimp to find out. Wait and see. Yes, there we go. Oh, yeah, I see Greg Hardwick has said, SCOTUS forever! I want to see how that plays out because it's not done yet. I mean, that particular case is the employment discrimination case. That's settled. That's in law. But remember that Sippy Cup in Chief did write that executive order allowing discrimination against people like me when it comes to health care and a few other things. That's going to climb the rungs of the judiciary now. And I just don't know how that's going to turn out. I mean, are they going to be forced into deciding for us, for me and my siblings in arms or whatever you want to call it, comrades in arms, or are they going to take a different tack?
Well, I'm still surprised that of all people, Clarence Thomas flipped on this issue.
Yes, yeah, that was, and the other guy, the new guy.
What His Honor the rapist?
No, the other one, the one before him. What the heck is his name? The one that McConnell held out for.
Oh, I don't know.
The one
Brain
that
not working.
the one that was confirmed instead of Garland. Gorsuch.
Oh,
I am amazed that he decided with the good people. I am really.
well, isn't it Gorsuch?
Is it? Oh, okay, okay,
Pretty sure.
okay. Stand corrected. But yeah, I was rather surprised that he took that tack. I think someone else wrote that in relation to Mr. Gorsuch. It is well to remember that the appointees do not necessarily remain on the ideological track for which they were appointed. Well, that did happen with a couple of the federal judges that Bush appointed, for example. The one who decided Kitzmiller versus Stover, for example.
Still, I imagine that like Trump and his ilk honestly thought that this one was a slam dunk.
Yes, I think they did. It's not always that simple. It's not always that non-simple either, because the other thing I read was that he interpreted along his ideological guidelines. I'm trying to remember what the interpretation is called, but it's an interpretation that more favors the letter of the law than the spirit.
Okay, you've completely lost me. This when, like, what are you talking about?
Okay, when Gorsuch decided, as he did, in favor of the queers, what
Yeah.
I had read was that he did so not necessarily because he liked the queers, but because that was in keeping with his almost literal interpretation of law. And if you run in, if you run into a law that's not quite so literal, you might have a different outcome. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see because I don't know how things are written when it comes to the medical care issue. Does he have wiggle room? Because if he has wiggle room, I'm still afraid that he would decide against people like me.
Okay, they updated Creatura and they've added a fuck ton of weird things that can happen to your creatures.
Oh, I haven't been into Creatura in a while. I'm gonna have to go.
They have these like weird back spines now. It's crazy pants looking.
Okay then. There we go. Swallow the coffee. Don't wanna get the customer's gin all over the place. That was something else I saw today, by the way. Let's see what we have. From the Twitter trending, Sippy Cup in Chief signs executive order on police reforms. On Tuesday, President Trump signed an executive order calling on U.S. police departments, quote, to adopt the highest professional standards to serve their communities, end quote, proposing measures such as a national database for law enforcement misconduct and restrictions on the use of chokeholds. I'm just wondering, it sounds to me like words with nothing behind it. Really, it does.
Well, I saw some video recently. Apparently, there was stuff we didn't see with George Floyd, and there's like this whole crowd standing around saying, "Look at him, he's not breathing," kind of
Okay,
thing.
okay.
And you got the one sort of vaguely Asian looking cop standing there, just not saying anything, but definitely trying to block everyone's way. And there was one guy who was like, I don't know if he was the one filming it or what, but he could not stop saying bro. Like every sentence, look at him, bro. He's not breathing, bro. What are you gonna do, bro? And after all, I was like, dude, I want to see the rest of this, but shut up. I mean, it was kind of like when people tried to get me into Rick and Morty, and apparently in the very first episode, Rick said Morty like 90 times, and the writers did that deliberately. And I got to a point where I was like, I cannot watch this. I actually got angry watching it just because of like just how many times that was repeated, and I got so sick and tired of it. And people were like, but it's such a good series. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't piss me off for the first episode and expect me to keep watching. That's just not how you do it.
Yeah, there you
So
go. Well, I don't know. Maybe they were trying to make it as bad as it could be and then tell you, okay, it only gets better from here. I don't know.
I don't know either. I just know that I really didn't care for it.
Okay, then I really haven't watched any of it. I've seen the occasional clip, maybe 15 seconds or something like that. But yeah, I really haven't paid any attention to it. I mean, I've barely paid attention to Pinky and the Brain. And that, by the clips I've seen, looks like something I'd like.
It's a good thing. Although I never actually watched the standalone show. I only ever watched them on Animaniacs.
Okay, then. Okay, so they did something similar to IR Baboon, where it started out
What?
Well, the thing is, you saw only attached to Animaniacs. You didn't see the standalone. That was kind of the way our baboon did it.
I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it.
Oh, it's a weasel and a baboon. The weasel is extremely brilliant. The baboon is, well, a baboon. Um,
Yeah.
and their antics when the baboon sends things sideways. It started out attached to cow and chicken, and then went standalone for a while.
No, not familiar with it.
Oh, okay, okay.
But then I
Um,
never watched Cow and Chicken either.
um, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. The guy who played Worf voiced the
Michael
Weasel.
Dorn.
Michael
Michael
Dorn.
Dorn.
That's it. Okay, I couldn't remember the first name, but he voiced the Weasel.
I see.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm thinking someone says Weasel. I'm thinking Pauly Shore, but that's just me.
And just about anybody could have voiced the baboon, you know, with "I are baboon" or something like that. I don't know, some really weird shit.
Mm. I don't know.
Um,
I was going off the other day on Facebook about just how much I fucking hate cartoons these days because the artwork is so lazy. It like people are saying it's like it has something to do with some Cal Arts style. Like apparently people from the Cal Arts school have been doing this, but they it's just the way they're animating stuff looks so I'm not even sure how to describe it, but it feels like they want everything to be so I don't have words. There's no word for it. I just fucking hate it.
Now, when are you saying Cal Art?
Yes, Cal
Oh,
Arts.
okay, because no, my ears,
California.
my ears were misbehaving. Well, they were misbehaving before we went on air, if you remember. And what I was hearing was cow art, as in moo. And I'm thinking, wait a
No.
minute, no, 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 no,
Yes,
no,
but you have cows on the brain these days. I don't know what's up with that, but you do.
no. That got started years ago. Gods, when the ex and I were still together. Where it came from, I do not know. But yeah, everything became moo and cow and whatever it is. And
Oh, beef.
I don't know. I'll have to find some other way to annoy people.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just there's everything is so minimalist, I guess, in cartoons these days. It looks like something out of Highlights magazine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I cannot stand it. I mean, there was a time when cartoons seemed to have a certain amount of variety, and if you wanted something that was at least paying lip service to looking vaguely realistic, you could get it. But these days, not so much.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the remake of She-Ra, but oh, what are they thinking?
Now, I remember the original release of the David Seville and the Chipmunks thing. That was a kind of a minimalist thing. I don't know if it's the same thing
No,
that
but
you're
it's
talking
different.
about. Say again?
But let me show you here
Yeah,
a
sure.
window. Da, 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 da. Okay, so on the left you have the original, and on the right you have what they think people apparently want. Okay,
Okay.
and then you get this.
Oh my word. Oh, oh
Right?
God. Yeah, that's doesn't
You
translate well
know,
one to the other. And no, this is not at all what I was thinking of when I was talking about David Seville.
let me see here was there was oh yeah, Thundercats was another one that they really fucked with.
Now I remember
Um,
the original Thundercats. What did they do later?
look at the one on the right.
Why? I really don't want to. Did they broadcast that shit?
Apparently,
Holy
but
hell.
everything has this weird look to it now. Everything. You know, it's like whatever the hell that Steven Universe show is, and it's just like everything looks so padded and fluffy and like it just looks so stupid. You know, there was a time you could actually get, I mean, if you wanted this, it was available. But if you wanted something else, it was available too. And now you can't get it. Like
Yeah.
everything has been homogenized now.
Oh, geez. Okay, not
And
fun. Not fun.
I hate it so much. I really do.
Okay, so I guess I'm not going to be running to watch cartoons anytime soon, or television. Period. Really, I mean, it's been so long that I've found that I get along pretty well without the televised stuff.
Well, I don't, but mostly because I need something to make the brain monkeys shut up when I'm trying to get something done.
Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking through my arse. Does YouTube count as television stuff?
Close enough. It's audiovisual entertainment.
Okay, because I mean, I watch a shitload of that. I was just watching a piece yesterday from Central Washington University on the geology of the Columbia Snake and a couple other rivers. That was a whole lot of fun. I love that. But
I don't have even the tiniest scrap of a clue what you're talking about, but okay.
yeah, well, it it appears that the Columbia River and the Snake River and a couple other rivers flowing through Washington changed course quite a lot over the last 20 million years. And this was what this program was all about that I was watching yesterday. And that's the kind of stuff I'm watching all the time.
So boring stuff then.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are those who think it boring. Um,
Well, only people with sense and taste.
I mean, around here somewhere, I have a recorded program from back when Discovery Channel was good, um, about poo. It did an
Oh,
entire half hour about poo. I was like, hey, this
oh
is
yeah.
great.
I seriously hope you mean Winnie.
No. I'm talking about the stuff dung beetles are enamored with.
Oh, so Trump then.
Yeah. Yeah, there was somebody living next door to me in the row house I was in. Uh, I'm sitting there in the living room watching this stuff, and it's summer. My living room door is open. It's just a screen door that's closed. She's walking by. And, oh, what are you up to? And how can you watch that stuff? It's interesting. Really, it is.
Yeah, but it's not nearly as interesting as, say, defending the galaxy against an ancient alien horde that has an agenda that nobody can quite understand until you finally, like, get to the final confrontation. That's way more interesting.
Oh, okay, okay.
Well, you know,
Um,
because it's like a cool space fictional adventure where what you're talking about is just real world stuff that doesn't actually have any flash to it.
oh well, I guess I'm just boring. You know, I've pretty much figured that out already.
Well, you know, you could start getting more into sci fi and fantasy. There's nothing stopping you.
Well, Moo, one of these days I may actually do so. Um, it's just that there are a lot of, what is it, three blue, one brown episodes out there that I still have to watch. The
Rewind, a lot of, excuse me, a lot of what?
I think it's called Three Blue, One Brown. I don't know where the title comes from. It's all about math puzzles.
Oh,
He's the guy who runs it is a friend of Vsauce's.
of what now?
Okay, there's another guy out there who has a channel called Vsauce, which is a lot
Okay.
of stuff you would consider boring. It's about real world stuff. Yeah, I guess those two are friends, and I found
The
one through
real
the
world
other.
sucks.
Say again.
I said the real world sucks.
Oh, I don't know. I guess there's some of that goes on. Really, I don't know how popular the bathhouses are anymore, but there may be some popularity. Hard to tell.
So you think you're funny, but you're not.
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
Well, if the real world didn't suck, I'd probably spend more time in it. But, the real world doesn't have, well, let's face it, alien invasions and spaceships and like, people casting magical spells and shit. And that's what's fun.
Okay.
I mean, because that
Oh,
is really, I'd say most of my life, if not all of it, has been spent in the pursuit of having a good time. Because what else is life really about?
hmm. I don't know. This is really deep. I mean, you can really get into some good discussion about this one. I don't know if it is the case that I am not all about having a good time, or is it that the stuff I'm all about is what I consider having a good time? Um,
Well, then that's just sad.
oh, it's his eye color. Okay. Thanks, Greg.
Hmm?
That three blue and one brown I was talking about. Amiga Nuts put up the link to his channel, and then Greg Hardwick says it's his eye color.
Three blue, one brown?
Yes,
That's a little too many eyes, isn't it?
I don't know how it works, but I don't know. Maybe the guy has multiple colors in one eye.
Maybe. Well, that's just
Um,
weird.
yeah, I can. I'll give you an idea of what's la 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 la. Um, oh, there we are. First try. How do you like that? Oh my, oh my, oh my. Copy link location. Do, 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 do. Oh, okay. 3/4 of one eye is blue and 1/4 is brown. That's really, 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 really interesting. That's got me thinking about how how is it that the pigment is distributed through eyes? Okay, that's the investigator over here thinking, that something like that starts up an avalanche of questions in my brain and questions I'd like to look at. Um, that's what I consider fun. And this link that I just put up was the film I was watching yesterday, Ancient Rivers of the Pacific Northwest. I found it fascinating, and of course, I'm probably the only person on earth that finds it fascinating. So,
Yeah, it sounds terribly, terribly dull. It's a river. It's a trench with water in it. Ooh.
yeah, but at this particular time in history, it was over here, and then later it was over there, and still later
Okay.
it was further back, and yeah, it's moving all over Washington State, and
So it's a trench with water in it that doesn't stay in one place.
uh-huh, yeah.
Ooh. So, I mean, where's the fun in that?
I am going to say it tongue in cheek and seriously at the same time. I must be kind of weird because I actually do find that stuff to be fascinating.
But where's the fun is my question.
Well, it's fun because it's fascinating, and it's fascinating
But
because it's fun.
what's even fascinating about it? Okay, plate tectonics, they shifted a bit. Ooh. I mean, really, Where's the thrill?
Well, it's okay. Here's how we know that the river was over here, and here's how we know that, and here's how we know about the lava flows that changed the river's course, and yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff that Ken Ham doesn't like. Um,
But where's the fun?
this is how you and I differ structurally. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give you a hard time over it, really, but
Oh, well, that makes fun of us.
okay. But yeah, I mean,
Well,
that's the
I'm
sort of thing.
sorry. I was raised to think that aliens would be making friends with me someday, and they haven't. So I have to get that, thrill somewhere else.
Okay, then. Excuse
It's
me.
like, to me, if it involves some sort of adventure, it's probably more fun.
Well, I can imagine some adventure in, okay, let's say just as Aaron did, going on a field trip in, where the hell was it, Kenya or something, going fossil hunting?
Yeah, but that's not cool because there aren't, spaceships involved.
I don't know. Do we know that with any degree of certainty? How do we know that there is no spaceship buried under a lava flow with the space aliens waiting for somebody to dig them out?
Well, did Aaron find any on his trip? No.
It wasn't looking in the right places. That's all.
Yeah, that's all. I don't get it. I mean, the real world is so dull. Like compared to the world of the imagination, the things we can come up with. Like let's put it this way: if I had access to Star Trek's holodeck, I'd set it to Star Wars and never leave.
Oh my! And then okay, I have to look up the quotation.
About
About the Stranger Things. Okay, is this it?
what?
Yes, there we go. There we go. There we go. From Hamlet. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Um, so, as a description of how reality can be pretty wild and wonderful, too.
Eh, but can it really?
I mean, when I went
Well,
back.
let's put it this way: if you had a choice between, ooh, I don't know, going to the Grand Canyon or being actually present for literally, like, not the filming of, I mean, if it actually happened, final scene in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which would you pick?
Okay, no, wait a minute, wait a minute. Are you saying, okay, be at the Grand Canyon or be at the filming of the film?
No, I'm saying not be. I'm saying if Close Encounters of the Third Kind was actually happening for real in the real world,
Oh,
and that
okay.
UFO was landing at Devil's Tower, and you got to see it, versus, strolling about through an enormous ditch, which one are you picking?
Oh, wow, that's a tough choice. It really is.
How is
Um,
that a tough choice? Meeting freaking extraterrestrials over seeing the Grand Canyon. Come on, that's a no brainer.
well, the thing is, I have seen the Grand Canyon, and if you'll excuse the phrase, it stirred my heart. Um, just looking.
But no, seriously, which would you pick though? If you could go see some landmark or some historical thing, or you can go see aliens land on the frickin' Earth, which one you picking?
I don't know. I think the aliens might slightly edge out simply looking at the rock layers.
See, the fact that there is a question is just well, it's bizarre to me. It's alien to me. I don't get it. I like there would be no question whatsoever. I'm gonna go see that freaking UFO.
what I really wish I could have done, and I was not able to, was actually go into the canyon and do some work in there because there's still geology going on there.
Would you seriously even remotely pick that over seeing extraterrestrials land for the first time in human history? You kidding me?
Well, that's what I say. I mean, the extraterrestrials might have an edge, but of course, I don't know. It may be a scene out of Mars Attacks.
Well, but even so, wouldn't you want to be there for it?
Let's see, to watch everybody get disintegrated, right?
I'm sorry, but I don't see how this can possibly even be a question. There's aliens, EOC aliens.
Oh my! I don't know. I think my reality brain is getting entwined here because I do understand that there's no freaking way that that's ever going to happen. But it is nice to think about.
Well, yeah, see, that is kind of getting in the way because I'm asking if it was going to happen, there's no question whatsoever. Like this is it. There will be aliens here. You're really gonna pick going prospecting in the Grand Canyon over that?
I don't know. It would be kind of nice to meet Joe Alien, and if we could exchange ideas, that would be fun.
Oh, this is so bizarre. I
Uh,
just, it's almost surreal. I cannot picture even remotely considering going out there with a trowel and digging about in a pile of rocks versus seeing an actual freaking interstellar starship. I mean, there should be no question whatsoever.
yeah, and as you say, and I say, yeah, it's got to be my reality brain getting in the way. It's got
See,
to
that's
be.
maybe it's just that I don't have this so-called reality brain. I have a gosh, I wish this were real brain.
Okay, okay. Because yeah, I wish it were real that we could meet an advanced civilization that could solve all our problems and everything else
Well, I
like
never said
this.
anything about
Well,
that.
I'm
Never
I'm
saying
just going over the
solving
top to
all
be,
our problems.
hyperbolic. But and then there is the ancient history. There is the paleography that well, not the paleography, the paleontology. That's what I'm looking for. That does exist. So yeah, it's really weird. I'm really weird. We know this. It's well
Yeah, but
established.
it's just bizarre to me that there's even a question. I don't get it. I really don't.
Well, I don't know. My ex didn't get it either. When I, would say that I would much rather see a natural feature than walk around New York City.
That's bizarre too.
I mean, I've been to New York several times. Um, it's okay to visit. I certainly wouldn't want to spend any great amount of time there. I mean, seeing a ball game at Yankee Stadium, that was a moment to remember. Yes. Um, but I don't think that I would want to live in the Bronx. I don't think I'd want to live. I could never afford to live on Manhattan. Um, I mean, I've seen some of the real estate videos. Was it $1,300 for 80 square feet? I think it was 8 by 10, something like that.
No, though, I mean, looking at these human created civilizations, how cool is that? Look at what's been achieved versus going out into the woods where everything is sticky or drippy or wants to eat you and stuff smells out there. It's just, I mean, why? Where's the attraction? I don't see it.
Oh, I don't know. It's meeting and talking to some of those slimy creatures. That's fun.
Yeah, but they
Um,
don't talk back.
well, talking, sort of metaphorically or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
but see, that's the thing. When it becomes literal, I become interested.
oh my. Oh, look. We can have this. We can have this as we speak. Uh,
What is this?
yeah, because we have YouTube me admitting to being an alien.
Yeah.
No, huh? Yeah, YouTube
This is
me.
what I look like when I don't buy it.
That's the interesting thing. There's probably a pretty good chance that um, intelligent creatures, and when I say intelligent, I mean far more intelligent than Sippy Cup in Chief. Um, they might well be out there. I don't know what the probability is. I'm thinking it's kind of low.
What, that there's aliens out there?
Yes, aliens of advanced intelligence. Yeah.
Why would you think the probability is low?
Because okay, I'm gonna sound hamish here, but the number of things that have to go right in order to get there lowers the odds of it happening. I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm saying that I'm thinking you've got to do a lot of looking to find these guys if they're out
See,
there
the
at
thing
all.
is, though, but that's a different issue. Us being able to find them versus them being out there is an entirely separate issue.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
And given just how huge the universe is, how many bajillions of galaxies it contains, and how many bajillions of stars, I would take those odds to Vegas. If someone said, "Hey, do you think that there's an intelligent alien society out there somewhere?" I'd say, put that all on yes.
now, I was just reading something yesterday or today where somebody is positing that there must be at least 36
I
intelligent
saw that.
civilizations. Yeah. Um, I cannot remember offhand the basis of that decision, and I forget where to find it again. I mean, this person may be absolutely right. I mean, there may be 3 dozen advanced civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy. That's just some pretty good numbers there. I mean, for something the size of the Milky Way to have that many, you know, peopleses. Um, Now, as far as taking odds to Vegas, I can say almost without reservation that there is life out there. Absolutely. I'm
Well,
thinking.
why would intelligent life be such a leap, do you think?
Um, you've got to have a lot of things go the right way. I know I sound like Ken Ham, and I really don't want to sound like Ken Ham. I really don't. But um, the odds of repeating an event kind of get in the way of saying, of course, it happened.
Well,
Um,
here's one of the problems I have with that is because a lot of people judge the possibility of intelligent alien life based on what humanity has and has done. And I'm like, why would it be so similar? Why are people invested in alien life being so similar to ours? Like I was talking to someone about the possibility of AI becoming intelligent enough to at least pass the Turing test, if not more.
okay.
And like he kept saying, "Well, you have to have brains that are similar to human brains." And I'm like, "Why? Why do you have to have brains that are similar to human brains? Why can't they be a completely different kind of processing mechanism?" And he's like, well, and I'm like, see what I mean? You know, we can
Mm-hmm.
have a very different style of intelligence potentially from some other intelligent entity. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that similar.
Now the thing is that all I have to compare, to all I have to judge what an intelligent civilization might be or an intelligent creature might be is to compare it against what I know, and that's a very
Yeah.
limited field.
But that's the problem though, is if there are other possibilities, then deciding to compare it only to what you know is artificially limiting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how else to conceive of it. Um,
Well,
in other words, what might it be? There's an entire there's an infinite field open when you come down to that. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm with Greg. It's all we got. It's all I know. I'm
Well,
more
I
inclined to
think
look at
that
that.
that's
Hmm? What
I
about?
think that that's terribly limiting to only look at what you know. I mean, I know that there are people out there who have speculated other possibilities, like life that's not based on carbon. One of the staples of sci-fi is silicon-based life.
Yeah, now I do have some objections to that, and I've got some stuff to base it on. But it's interesting to think about.
Well, but I mean, that's the thing, though, is if we know that that is at least potentially a possibility, then saying, "Gee, I wonder if there's aliens out there that are just like us," seems way too limiting to me. It seems like a problem of imagination, of vision.
Yeah, the whole silicon-based life thing is silicon is physically incapable of forming the great extent of chains and sheets that carbon can. It's really
And
interesting how, well, that's how you get, the chains and the sheets and all this other stuff. That's how you get the diversity of carbon compounds that form the more complicated structures.
well,
Um,
surely there must be some other way to do it. It doesn't have to be exactly like human life, is my point,
oh, right, right.
or even exactly like Terran life.
That
I
one
think
I don't
expecting
know.
that
I
is
don't
horribly
know about
limiting.
that one.
I think expecting it to be is limiting.
Yeah, this is one that a lot of people are asking and a lot of people are trying to look at. And I do not know whether it is absolutely required that life, period, be based upon the proteins, the nucleic acids, et cetera, that we see around us. Um, I'd like to investigate that. I mean, there's something I'd like to look at. And I might actually stay in the lab to look at that rather than talk to an alien. I don't know. Um, I'd really like to know how to answer that question, and that's something I regard as fun. But of course, it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to let me run a lab.
I don't know.
I've been brewed in physics and chemistry and biology far too much, I guess.
Yeah, whereas I likes me my sci-fi, my fiction, my fun, the fun of like immersing yourself in something else that's possible rather than dealing with the real world, which is frequently dull and boring by comparison, certainly. It's like, oh, okay, like, how do I put this? It's so much cooler to mess around with the DNA of something and end up creating the coolest monster that everyone has to fight versus messing around with the DNA of something and it just dies on you. You know what I mean? Like lab work is not cool. It's not fun. It's just lab work, and that's all it is. It's great. It has great utility, but it's not exactly a thrill. It's kind of like
Hmm.
I'm not sure I would necessarily want to be present for the launch of a spacecraft unless I was in the fucker. Because look, I'm watching other people do the stuff I kind of wish I could do. Where's the fun in that?
Yeah, well, in my particular case, that's about as close as I would ever be able to get because they're not going to take me as a crew member. I can tell you that for sure.
Well, they're not going to take me either, but that's not the point. The point is that, like, I was raised on a steady diet of Star Wars and Star Trek and The Last Starfighter and Babylon 5 and all that stuff. And I'm like, space is neat and all, but if I never get to go there, what's the big deal? And I don't want to get my thrills vicariously.
Well, something I wouldn't mind is helping other people get there.
I would mind that. That's even worse. Because, like, as long as I'm not involved, there isn't going to be that envy and jealousy as much. But I'm sitting there, like, so close and yet so far, that would suck ass.
There's
I want to
something.
participate. It's kind of like, in fact, it's very similar to if I'm at a live stream and I'm watching everyone else chatting, but I'm just sort of in the text chat going, I might interact with some of the people in the text chat, but I want to be actually on the show. You know,
Okay.
it's
Now,
it's just I
I don't know. It's one of the things I regard as fun is listening to the flight director's loops from the missions that have flown. This is the stuff that the public usually never hears because certainly the television stations didn't carry it at the time. But um, when I'm listening to these guys talking amongst each other, for example, attention all flight controllers, gonna go for landing, retro, you hear go, and GNN, go, insurgent. I wouldn't mind being at one of those consoles because that is
well,
that is a participation.
but it's not though, because where you are, your ass is still on Earth.
Yeah, and without my
Well,
arse on Earth, their arses wouldn't be out there.
yes, but you aren't going to space.
Well, that's not going to happen anyway, as I say. Yeah,
Well, but
you'll
that
learn to
doesn't,
live with
but,
that shit.
but I mean, imagine wanting something and wanting it a very, very large amount, and then having to sit there watching, not just watching, but helping someone else do the thing you want to do and will never get to do.
Oh,
That sucks.
oh, I can imagine that. It's not that that hasn't happened throughout my life. Over the years. Yeah, I get that. I
Well,
wish I could be
that's
doing
how it
that.
is watching astronauts go to space. I'm like, you lucky fuckers. I want to do that and I probably never will, and that sucks so much ass. And I just,
I mean, there is a name that comes to mind, Deke Slayton. God, how he must
mm,
have felt for those years between being taken off the flight line and then finally getting to fly the ASTP. Um, yeah,
I don't know. I I don't know.
oh, what do we have here? Random Shilling, Isaac Arthur, for writers and scientists making sci fi into nonfiction. Oh,
Okay.
okay. Thank you, Amiga Nuts. I may have to look at that.
I don't know. It's like when the what the hell they call it, the Elon Musk ship that just went up, with Bob and Doug in it.
Oh,
That
right, right.
thing, Discovery, right? or something. I don't know. It doesn't
Endeavor, I
matter. The point
believe.
is that when it went up and everyone on Facebook was making this big, huge deal about it, I was like, whatever. I'm not going. I don't care.
Okay, okay. And speaking of, I did not keep up with it much farther than the first couple of days. The mission is done, right?
I don't know. I mean, I just said I don't care.
Moo. Oh, no, no, that's that, that's that foo. Okay, okay, here we go. I don't see the particular mission involved here, but yeah, I'd like to know how long this is supposed to last. Yeah, I didn't keep up on it. Sue me. Oh, well, what are you going to do? I say that a lot. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Naporozhnie. I say that a lot. Oh, my. The mission was the demo, too. Okay, so.
Ow. Okay, can you seriously not whistle into your microphone? Because that's really painful. Like, whistling is okay, just don't do it right into the mic like that because it hurts my ears.
Oh, okay. I will try to not point my face in that direction.
Huh.
Oh, this is.
Seeing
Whoa,
something here
wow.
that's saying a life-saving drug, was it dexamethasone proves the first life-saving drug for coronavirus. Huh.
Oh,
Interesting. Says it cut the risk of death by a third for patients on ventilators. So it's not really a vaccine so much. It sounds like it's just a treatment.
yeah. Now, there's the interesting thing here. When you talk about cutting the risk of death, I don't want a risk of, I don't necessarily want the risk of death cut. I want the risk of death cut if you are in good shape when you come out of it. But if you're going to not die, but instead live the shittiest life imaginable, I'd rather die.
Yeah, I just want a vaccine so you don't even get sick in the first place.
There you
Thanks.
go. There you go. And this is interesting here. Okay, according to the Font of All Knowledge, the end of the mission could be anytime between 26 June and 23 September. So, okay. Yay. Back to where we were. Yeah, I want the vaccine. I really do. I don't know offhand exactly what the hurdles are. Um, I know I picked up on some interesting things that were discovered that the coronavirus exhibited some properties of a disease of the circulatory system. Um, and that might have contributed or contribute to part of the lethality. Um, but there are all sorts of things turning up. We never expected this, or we never expected this. I would really like to know what the biggest stumbling block is to a vaccine. I'd like,
I don't know. I mean, even just finding one,
yeah,
finding anything that works.
I'd like to know if the whole bit about the reinfection is a real thing, because that would be not fun.
Well, I just know that I kind of want the world back. I'm getting some serious cabin fever these days, and yesterday I was so desperate for leaving the apartment for something other than just food that what I ended up doing was walking all the way to Mission Valley and back, which is a 2 hour trip, and the way back is up this steep, steep motherfucking hill. Because I needed somewhere to go, something to do.
Yeah,
Believe it or not,
yeah.
I found a brick and mortar store for recreational cannabis, and I figured,
Oh,
what the hell? Let's just hike there because I need somewhere to go. I am never, ever, ever doing that again. I came back drenched in my own filth and so tired you have no idea. But Yeah, that's how desperate I've been for exercise, for movement, for this, that, and the other thing. I just need this disease to be over so I can have that freedom of movement again.
yes, absolutely. And what's really interesting is the lack of that freedom. I experience it painfully, even though under so-called normal conditions I don't go much of anywhere anyway. I think it's losing the capability to go somewhere whenever I want to. That's the big thing with me.
Didn't realize you wanted it until you were told you couldn't have it, kind of thing.
Kind of, yes. Yeah. Um, or even the losing the spontaneity thing. If I lose the ability to just get up out of my chair at some point on a whim and say, okay, I'm going to walk to the University of Pittsburgh. Um, I miss the ability to do that. And that's the kind of walk you were just talking about. I used to take walks like that on a rather regular basis. It'd be 2 or 3 hour walks, um, and just the neighborhoods I'd go through. I would just look around and see what everybody was up to, and stop at the smoke shop and pick up some really strange pipe tobacco and stuff like that. It would be a hell of a walk now. I mean, to walk to the University of Pittsburgh from here, I think would be a 5 or 6 hour walk.
Well, I just know that I'm so tired of this.
Yeah, I get it. I absolutely get it. And I don't know what there is to do other than wait it out, unfortunately. Um,
Well, and also hope for a vaccine.
that too. Yeah, well, waiting out the trip to the vaccine. I mean, it might be a little bit easier were we able, uh, were you to have an automobile, were I to have an automobile. You could go wherever you wanted to go. I could go wherever I wanted to go in the automobile, uh, to where people were not around. You didn't have to worry that much about transmission or anything. Couple nice forests around here I could get to
Yeah,
that I,
I don't do forests.
well, there might be something other than that for you. I don't know.
Well, I can't think of anything.
Oh, excuse me.
I mean, the kinds of things I want to do kind of require for me to be in civilization.
Moo.
So,
Yeah, okay, that's difficult. Because there is something I'd like to do, and unfortunately, we're past the time when I can get free bus trips. Um, let's strap the bicycle to the front of a bus, go into McKeesport, and then bike to downtown. Wouldn't mind something like that. Of course, yeah, that would go over with you like a lead balloon. I know, I know, I know.
well, that's the thing is like I would love to go rollerblading. but there's no way to get to the bike path and social distance. Like those two are mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, well, I mean, even if you don't mind that stuff, to just get there, for me to get on the bus and go into McKeesport, that's $1.25 each way. I can't do that, you know, trip out, trip back every day. I don't have that much cash.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, even $50 is that tight on me.
I need food.
You say you need food?
I do.
Oh my. Oh, let's see. Could you? Yeah, you could always come over, and I could make something based upon octopus or something, right?
Right. I could always make pasta or a stir fry.
Stir fried pasta?
Or a stir fry, I said.
No, I'm
Although
just.
actually, there have been times when I've used, like, say, angel hair or vermicelli, where, say, yakisoba might have been good.
That's the kind of thing I had in mind. Yeah. I didn't know how well that worked.
It works out okay. I mean, I'm sure I'd be offending a bunch of like cooks and chefs from multiple places around the earth, but it it works. It's not disgustipating.
Okay, then. Yeah, I haven't experimented very much lately. I ought to do that someday and just go through the grocery store and, oh, that looks good. And, oh, that looks good. That looks interesting. Bring it all home and see what I can do with it. There have been a couple times I've done that actually worked out well, amazingly enough.
Yeah, I've done a couple of experiments that have turned out rather well and a lot that haven't. And
Mm-hmm. And there was one I did many moons ago with various chopped vegetables. Slice up bell peppers and onions and maybe a few Roma tomatoes or cherry tomatoes or something that, firm tomatoes that weren't all liquid. Um, and just get that going in a pan, make some depressions in the stuff, and crack eggs into the depressions and finish that up. And it actually turned out fairly well. Um, I just haven't repeated it lately. Lately,
so I think
meaning in the past 40 years. Hmm?
I think I've figured out why it is I don't like mustard.
Oh,
Because a very, very, very prominent ingredient appears to be vinegar.
oh, absolutely. Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's just ew. It's all I can taste.
Oh my, the woes of a super taster. I could not imagine what that's like.
It's just one of the most disgusting tastes ever. I don't know how anyone can say that vinegar is appealing. It's so gross.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can do malt vinegar. Um, I certainly could not drink a cup of white vinegar. No, the hell, could not do that at all. Um, but I know that one of the things I do have to do, some of the dishes that involve vinegar, I have to sprinkle baking soda on because the vinegar burns my mouth.
I'm not even, that's not even a consideration. What's a consideration is how it tastes and how it smells. And it smells like something you should not consume.
Well, yes. What fatty acids um, as a rule, do not smell very good.
So why does anyone cook with it? I don't understand.
Well, there's the interesting thing for you. I do find myself occasionally wondering how did people start eating garlic or onions, that sort of thing. And I'm guessing that the same sort of thing is involved with vinegar. It happened to be that this was there and somebody ate it anyway and said, well, it isn't as bad as it looked or smelled.
Well, that's the thing though, is garlic smells really, really good. Like, even if you haven't
Mm-hmm.
eaten it yet, just smelling garlic smells good. Where smelling vinegar smells like vomit.
Yeah, it does actually.
You
Um,
know, so, I mean, like, how did someone go, I know, I'm going to eat this thing that smells like vomit? I think most of our dietary palate is just the result of ancient fraternity hazings. You know, like
maybe.
most of what we eat, some schmuck said, "Hold my beer," and the next thing you know, it's
I'm
like, "Oh,
wondering.
I'm going to take this spoiled milk and I'm going to wait until it hardens and then I'm going to eat that." And that's the story of cheese, boys and girls. You
And
know,
that
I mean,
one,
it's so bizarre the things that we eat, and I don't know.
I have to wonder, is it the case that somebody had some milk and it got all spoiled and hard and everything, and it turned out that that was all that was around when some people were really hungry. And it said, okay, it doesn't look or smell all that appetizing, but I guess I'm going to eat it because that's all we've got. And then when they ate it, it wasn't all that bad, really.
Well, but
Um,
someone somewhere had to refine the process. I mean, when I think about what must have gone into inventing like beer and wine, for
mm-hmm,
example,
mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm.
you can't just take grape juice and let it spoil.
Yeah, and well, with the wine, my understanding is that that was almost inevitable because the original yeast of the fermentation is something that lived on the grapes as they were growing. So
Okay.
you had a window when the grape juice was not fermented, and it may or may not have been rather short. So it was one of these things with, okay, I'll drink the stuff. Oh, I feel pretty good. I think I'll have some more.
But even so, someone somewhere had to figure out how to refine the process so that people actually enjoyed it.
Yeah,
You know,
and that's
and I have to wonder, like, how did they even figure out what works and what doesn't?
yeah, that's something I'd really like to study. And well, my ex-wife, was very interested in that sort of thing. She was interested in the evolution of clothing, which you get a little bit of the same sort of thing going here. How do you refine,
Well, no,
from animal
clothing makes
skins
sense
to
though.
say again?
Clothing clothing makes so much more sense though than things like alcohol. Cuz all you got to do is kill something and wear its outsides. I mean, yeah, you'd have to figure out how to cure it to keep it from rotting and all of that stuff, but even
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
or you could like put on something. I mean, I don't know. It seems like there'd be less of a needing a chemistry background barrier than there would be with the food.
Yeah. Well, one thing I found out, and I was looking through some a strange book catalog. I think it might have had some survivalist section or something like this. You can tan leather with the brain of the animal. And okay, who figured that out? And how did they figure that out? And all that sort of thing. Because I guess what was going on with tanning with the brain was the fat. Because there's a hell of a lot of fat going on in the brain.
I know a lot of people who are total fatheads,
Uh
yes.
huh. And that's what the white matter is all about. It's all the I'm thinking myelin, and that doesn't sound right. The insulating sheaths around the axons. That's fat. Um, so there's a lot of that shit going on. Um, but yeah, who figured that out and how did they do it and all this other shit. And I'd step into a time machine to talk to somebody and figure that out.
Yeah, see, if I had access to a time machine, I'm going to the future and getting a spaceship.
There you go.
I mean, honestly, like I get that time machine movies usually need to go to the past because we know what the past was. But screw that crap. If I had a time machine, I would go to the future where everything would be so much cooler than it is now. And maybe part of this is just I started rewatching Futurama, but still, like, just I don't know.
There's an
There's one thing I definitely don't want to know. I realize that curiosity might win out someday. I really don't want to know what people did centuries ago, millennia ago, whatever, with regard to menstruation. Like, you don't have tampons, you don't have maxi pads, you don't have any of that stuff. What the hell did people do? I don't want to know because it's probably nasty and I'd like to be able to like stomach dinner tonight. But I'm sure that there's a weird history of all of that, but still, it just is.
Well, I think a lot of it involves sequestering the women who are menstruating. Um, I think there are still some cultures that do it today. And then, of course, you have the
I just mean the cleanup, though. The cleanup part.
Okay, and then
The not being icky part.
you have the phrase, and I can see
On the
exactly
rag,
where it
yes.
comes from on the rag. Yes, and I'm
But
thinking that old
so,
rags were involved.
but I mean, you see, like, movies that take place in a post-apocalyptic universe or something, Mad Max style stuff. And
Nobody
all the guys are
menstruates.
clean
You notice
shaved.
that?
All the guys are clean shaved, and you never hear anything about what women do during that time of the month. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's all just sort of taken for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Someone somewhere has figured all this stuff out in that universe, but we never get to find out what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And actually, come to think of it, they never mention it in futuristic shows either, like Star Trek.
Right.
Just never
Right.
comes. Seem to
Yeah.
remember once there was something I was reading, some sci-fi series or story or whatever, where they had actually gotten some sort of technology where you can just turn that off until you actually want to start spawning, and assuming you're not going to do it inside some sort of artificial womb, uterine replicator vat or something, you could have it turned back on again later. But it just like apparently they'd had some advance in technology that made it unnecessary.
Wouldn't that be great? I mean, if you could have something like that generally available.
Yeah. I can think of a lot of bodily functions it'd be nice to turn off. Like, hey, let's go on a date and not get pit stains.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I've heard people bitch about that, or it's like, yeah, I went on that first date and I thought we were hitting it off, and then we didn't. And by the end of it, we just put, don't call me, I'll call you kind of thing. And then I look down and oh my gosh, I'm sweating buckets over here.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to turn that off would be nice at times.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know when I was younger, that really would have come in handy. I would sweat horribly, 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 horribly. It took me a very long time to find some, over-the-counter product that actually helped with any of that. And of all the damn things, it was the secret antiperspirant.
Okay.
And one of the reasons that it took me a long time to figure that out was, remember now, for a lot of my past, I was trying to be a boy, and it wasn't working. And boys weren't supposed to use secret. Um, so when I was young, you're talking about early puberty, like about 7 or 8 years old. There's no way I'm going to get that stuff because the slimy bastards would be no, 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 that's wrong, that's wrong. And then later on, it's just you don't think of going in that direction. And it was only in the last 10 or 12 years that I actually was amazed. I discovered, hey, this shit works for me like nothing else ever did.
Well, one of the main things, because like that's not a huge problem, but one of the main things that fucks up my hair so bad is moisture, and the back of my neck loves to sweat like you wouldn't believe.
Okay, then.
And so making it so my hair doesn't turn into a big frizzy mess, I like, well, there's not a lot I can do if it happens to be too warm out or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be nice to be able to turn that off. It'd also be nice to be able to turn it off when I go out for, say, Mexican food that's super freaking spicy, or Indian for that matter. I mean, I think it's bizarre that we sweat when we eat spicy food. And I guess that's why we call it hot, I suppose. I mean, I guess it does burn as well, but still, regardless, we do. And it'd be nice to be able to deal with it.
That's the interesting thing. I was just thinking about this yesterday. I looked at a label on a spice, and it reminded me that you have in Spanish the two words for hot. I mean, you have caliente and you have picante, and you have the
Mm-hmm.
two senses involved there. You have the caliente, which is temperature hot, and the picante, which is spice hot. Uh, and it just struck me as, yeah, this is the real fun part about translating between languages, getting the senses right and everything, um, which is where I fell into the habit of, okay, if I go to Google Translate for something, I'll translate from English into Swahili or something, and then from Swahili back into English and compare the two English things. And if they're close enough, it's okay, we can use this. Um, all kinds of fun. Oh, yeah, and Von Rick, yes, absolutely. Talking about the food and everything. Native Americans in Canada figured out how to refine the poison out of acorns. Yeah, the tannins. I think it involves boiling the shit out of the acorns, doesn't it? Um, anyway, moo.
Yeah, well, what were we talking about?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, no, it's you went on some tangent about tannins and I got lost. What were we talking about?
Well, immediately prior to that, I was talking about the different senses that words have and translating between languages.
Ah, quite. We were on spiciness and sweating. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, yeah. I don't know what I'm going to make for dinner today, but I think it might involve spiciness.
Okay. Yeah, spicy is good. It really, really is. I mean, I can still do the stuff. I don't know if I can do it the way I could when I was 25, but I still like the spicy stuff.
I actually don't know why I like spicy food. I just know that I do. Like, because it is genuinely no shit painful,
Yeah.
and yet,
Mm-hmm.
and yet it's good. I mean, do I have a masochistic streak I don't quite know about? I don't know,
Maybe. Maybe.
but I mean, it's still tasty and pleasant to eat.
I have dropped the jaws of a couple restaurant serving staff in my lifetime. with one was having ribs and having the hot sauce with them and give it a try. Have anything a little bit hotter. And it's okay. Let's
Well,
see if we can do that. And then that continues and continues and continues, and finally somebody brings a cup of something. Says, here, try this, and it, put it on. Oh, yum! This is really great. And they're looking at me. That's pure Tabasco. Oh, okay, thanks.
well, and I've also noticed there are different kinds of spiciness. Like
Yes.
I like ginger and I like pepper, but when you start getting into stuff like wasabi, not so much.
Oh
Like
man.
wasabi seems to have a kind of almost vinegar-esque flavor to it, and I
Yeah, it
think that's
does.
why I don't like
Yep,
it.
it
That's
does.
why I don't like it. But pepper, on the other hand, is just pepper, and that's it. You know?
Oh man, yeah, and pepper hot is good, and yeah, I dropped the jaw of somebody in Buffalo that way, at the original Buffalo Wings place, the one that originated the thing, and um, I actually ate a habanero while this person was watching, and it was, what did you just do? And I said, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. Oh my!
But
I can't
still, like
believe
I
how
said,
long
there's
ago that was.
different kinds of spiciness, and some I like and some I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
I'd like to try some of the stuff that Aaron has been known to eat. The ghost peppers and a few of the recipes that Lalandra has made. Because my understanding is that there's a fair bit of Vietnamese cuisine that's a scale of 15 out of 10.
so is she Vietnamese then? I've never known, and I've just never felt the need to ask.
Um, she's, I think, bicultural, and part of it is Vietnamese. Yeah, I forget what the rest of it is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, Aaron has commented in more than one of his talks that it wasn't all that long ago that he and she could not have married legally in the U.S. because she would not have been regarded as white.
So you mean like no cross racial marriage kind of thing? Is that what you're
Right,
talking about?
right.
Uh, well, but I mean, what is white anyway? That's been a moving target throughout
Yeah,
almost all of our history. Like there was a time when the Irish and Italians were not considered white.
yes, you are
And
correct.
and,
Yes.
and there was that whole one drop theory where if you have even one
Yeah.
drop of not white blood, then you're not considered white, no matter how white you may look, kind of thing.
And that's
And
everybody,
there's
for fuck's
not
sake.
even other stuff like that where now, like what actually qualifies someone as a person of color? I have to wonder because you remember when Elizabeth Warren was trying to claim she's Native American.
Yes.
And then you get Tulsi Gabbard, who everyone calls a person of color. And I'm like, I think I might be darker than her. And maybe she's got some Hawaiian going on. I don't know. But if I ask people, am I a person of color? They almost inevitably tell me, no, you're white. But I'm like, okay, but at least 30% of my ancestry is from Africa. And another 30% is like Eastern European, not to mention the Italian. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty olive skinned to begin with. I've got a lot of swarthy going on.
Yeah, I
And
remember a
so
conversation we had about
technically, I
that.
might be a person of color, but people wouldn't consider me so. I mean, what does it take to qualify? Again, that's a bit of a moving target.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I remember the discussion we had when I said somewhere in passing or whatever it is, you're white. You're saying, no, I'm not.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, though, is like most people would consider me so, and I mean, again, it seems like such an artificial
Yes, it
construct.
is. It's absolutely artificial. I go with that in spades. Just think about that for a while. Um, but yeah, there's more color going on with everybody on this rock than people want to admit, and it's all gradations, really. Um, I think I'm one of the whitest people I know. I mean, as far as skin tone goes, and I wouldn't be surprised that I've got some stuff going on here. I mean, everybody thinks I'm Scottish. That's how white I am. Um,
Mm.
but
I've actually stopped on the street and someone like Native American dude asked me what tribe I'm from.
okay,
And, like I'm sitting here thinking, well, the adoption agency told me that I'm Cherokee. But then I did the 23andMe thing and it said I have literally 0.5%, not even a whole percent of Native American going on in my DNA.
okay,
So I look Native American to Native Americans enough that they stop me and ask me my tribe. But
okay. Then
I
now,
also had someone ask me if I'm Latina, which I mean, Italian is kind of close-ish because
yeah,
it's
pretty
Latin,
much.
but I'm not. Yeah,
Italian isn't that far from Catalonia, but yeah, I mean Italy isn't that far from Catalonia, but that sort of thing. Um,
well, I do think it's weird. Like you'd think that Latinos would be the people from like Italy, because Latin, you know.
yeah, yeah, you would think, but I guess it
It's
doesn't
just
work that
bizarre.
way. Now I do know the connection. I mean, as far as I
Sure, the connection's obvious, but
yeah,
it's the words people chose to use seem incompatible.
yep. Yeah, I used to know, and I cannot remember now how the people that raised me came to be called Slavs.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and look that up. I mean, you want to talk about you know words for origins. You have the Slavs, you have the Rus, you have the whole thing like that.
Well, I don't know.
But what the hell? It's I am rather proud of in my own way the fact that I am not related to those pieces of shit. So
Yeah,
perhaps
I don't know.
inordinately
I'm
so.
still holding out hope that my birth parents will show up and take me back to the home world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're my home world, Eastern Europe. I don't know if I'd want to go. Um, what was that all about? Was that you or was that somebody else?
No, that was Columbia.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh,
There
there
she
we
goes
are again.
again.
There we are again. Yeah, because
Well, what you have to understand is that we are what, like 24 minutes from feeding time?
okay, then yes, it's you're not gonna forget about the food, are you? Huh, human? Huh? Huh?
Well,
Huh?
it's more a matter of how about now instead?
Yeah, could you see walking around the clock that way? Where it's only a half hour to feeding time. Feed me now, and then the next day, you move the feeding time a half hour. It's only a half hour to feeding time, and it is in half hour steps. You move it back until you're finally where you started.
And that is absolutely in no way resembling the good, evil, greater evil, lesser evil, greater evil of our election system at all.
Whoa, yay. Well, the thing is, though, that with our election system, I don't know what the chances are of us ending up where we started. I think my view
Well,
of it
of
is
course
it
not.
only
It's
gets
not a
worse.
perfect analogy. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's the whole here, give me a little bit, and then here, give me a little bit from our new starting point. Here, give me a little bit from our new starting point, constantly over and over
Yep.
until the new starting point is how many hours before?
Yeah, where okay, you want a, let's call it a progressive outcome or something. And there's that, well, how about just going this little step to the right and then a little step to the right, and pretty soon, you're in Nazi Germany. Um, yeah, well, we're already there, but that's beside the point. Yeah, so let me look at the live streaming and see if they turn me off for that comment.
Sure. But that's why Columbia was meowing, is she thinks it's
Yeah,
food time. I should feed her now and not wait.
yeah, because it almost sounded like a Sylvia yawn. One of these things like, yeah,
Oh,
because
and
she's taken.
now we have a Xander attack. Hello,
Oh
Xander.
boy, yeah. Sylvia's taken is sleeping right by the desk here. Um, yes, he wasn't going over to the kitty bed when it was by the box of invisible fishies. But I moved it for whatever reason next to the desk, and now she's living in it. So, okay. When are you going to get bored of that? Hmm?
Columbia and Xander are not fighting as much. They still do, but like Xander can walk past Columbia and not get swiped now.
Oh,
Like,
well.
it's not a constant death match like it was. I don't know if they will ever be the kind of kitty friends that can snuggle, but right now they're not necessarily like murdering each other constantly. And the thing is, they are both at fault because
Yeah.
Xander will antagonize Columbia at times,
Mm-hmm.
but I hate to say, most of it is her fault. She just doesn't like him around.
Yeah, I get that. Um, yeah, the interesting way things went, I think I talked about this a little bit in the past. The way Ariel was with Winston, when he first arrived, she wasn't too happy about him being. Well, Miranda hated him, always did. But then you got to the point where you had the ear cleaning sessions going on, and Winston kind of adopted Ariel as mommy. But then when the ex took off, uh, they got to meet a while later, and Ariel absolutely hated him even more than she did when he first arrived.
Well, I was
So,
watching them earlier today, and they were sitting on the bed, and it looked like everything was perfectly friendly. And then the next thing I know, Xander is like biting Columbia on her shoulder blades, of all places. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? You guys were like hanging out and being all friendly and stuff. And she wasn't attacking you just for being nearby. And you decide to antagonize her. What the hell's wrong with you? I
but
was
that's
really
because
hoping
I
that
love
they would
you.
just, I don't know. I wish they could be a little more okay with each other. I wish they were the kind of cats where you can take pictures of them snuggled up against each other, like hugging and stuff. You know, the cute little cat pictures like that.
Oh,
Thing.
I have many of those. Yes.
I wonder, like, because I know that it's a good idea. Allegedly, it doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem like this was good advice to get a younger male cat when you already have an older female cat. That was the advice I was given, and I'm not sure it's such great advice, to be honest. I mean, I know that like females can look at another female as a rival for
Yes.
like breeding and stuff like that, but given how not okay Columbia has been with both Xander and Ivan, I don't know if maybe she would have preferred a female kitten to be brought home. I mean, she's kind of on the non-standard side in a lot of ways anyway. So maybe I should have tried that. I figure, like, I don't know if there's going to be a next time, but if there is a next time, I'm getting two kittens at the same time.
Okay, then, yes, that works quite well. More often than
Because
not.
yeah, like siblings, preferably.
Yes,
I
yes,
could have
yes.
actually. Xander had like a whole bunch of siblings that were at the foster home where I got him, and like the woman who was keeping them, she kept saying, "Could you take two? Could you take two?" And I
Maybe
was
you should
like, "I
have. I
already
don't
have
know.
one cat. I don't want three, so no." But I did feel a little bit bad for like separating up the siblings, for breaking up the siblings, but what else could I do, really?
Uh,
But I figure next time I will try to find sibs and yeah.
yeah, I've
But of
had.
course, what next time means is waiting for both Columbia and Xander to die off. So it could be
It's
quite a
going to take a
while.
while, because if Xander's lifespan is anything like Ariel's was, for example, then you would be getting another kitty in 2040.
Something like that.
Because Ariel lived to 19.
Well, I mean, I think most cats end up what, 15, 16, give or take?
Maybe sort of kind of. Miranda died at 15. I'm amazed she made it that far. Uh, yeah, because she was the one who had everything wrong with her. Um, so that might be median for the kittinesses.
Well, okay, I did not ask in the wild, you stupid Google. I was looking here, like what is the average cat lifespan? It says in the wild, 2 to 16 years. Well, that's not what I asked. I want to know like how long the average age of a pet cat,
Okay, yeah.
and it did not. Let's see. Cat breeds and lifespans. Ugh. I hate it when they can't give you just a straight answer. Okay, how long do cats
Okay.
live if they're indoor? Because it's 14 to 20 years, it says. Okay.
Yeah, the one I just pulled up right now is from the Font of All Knowledge, Aging in Cats. The life expectancy of a cat that is living indoors is typically 15.1 years.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And that has been roughly my experience, is that that's how long a cat will last.
Yeah.
Although Kitty lasted a long ass time. I forget how old she was, but she was pretty old.
Yeah, Ariel amazed everybody because when she made it to 19 with the chronic kidney disease, but of course the ex had the money to provide some pretty good care, and she was able to do the parenteral dialysis thing at home. And the ringer solution cost and the other stuff cost, the special diet cost, and I could never have done it. I wouldn't have had the money. Um, Patience, yes. Money, no. But yeah,
Mm,
Ariel's lifespan was extended by I think 3 or 4 years that way.
yeah. Well, in any case, and like I've mentioned Bat, Squeak, and Dizzy before, Bat and Squeak were still kittens when we got Dizzy. So, like, I think that helped too, that they were all roughly the same age. And I suppose it also
Oh,
helped that Squeak was like Squeak, both Squeak and Dizzy were female, and Squeak was very much the sort of like stay by herself type, the solitary lone type,
moo.
where both Bat and Dizzy were very much the outgoing type, the run everywhere type, those sorts of very playful.
Okay then.
Like if they were old comic strip or cartoon characters. Squeak would have been, the bookish one who just wants to sit by a tree with like books and stuff, where Bat and Squeak are the ones who are climbing trees and picking up frogs. Or sorry, Bat and Dizzy were the ones picking up frogs in the river, that kind of thing, climbing trees and all that.
That is
I
too
was kind
cool.
of pictured Dizzy like as like the little girl in the overalls following her slightly older brother in the stripy shirt. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, yeah.
That's just sort of how I always pictured those two.
Hi,
Where I
Russ.
pictured Squeak looking vaguely like Marcy from Peanuts.
Okay, then. Yeah, okay. And you cannot tell me that Marcy was not as queer as a $3 bill, but that's another story entirely.
Sure, she
Um,
was aware of it though, is the thing.
Say again?
I'm not sure she was self-aware of it though.
Oh,
Marcy,
okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think she had a whole bunch of feelings she didn't understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. In the middle of that sentence, the volume went down and came back up a little bit, and the actual meaning of it disappeared. That's why I asked for say again. But yeah, um, yeah, she may have been a pre-understanding time for her. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they are all kids, after all. Although, have you ever tried to picture what Charlie Brown must look like in real life? I mean, the kid's bald,
Yeah.
and he's like in elementary school and he's bald. How fucked up that must that be?
I'm trying to remember back how it looked. I know that someone had drawn the Peanuts characters as, let's say, middle-aged people. Um, it was all based on their appearance as 8-year-olds, but still, um, I think Charlie Brown may have got a little more hair than when he was 8 years old to emphasize the balding that occurred as he got older. It's like, yeah, one wisp of hair on the forehead, man. Come on.
Well,
Um,
there was one I saw, and I wish I could find it, where it was like if the Charlie Brown characters grew up to be some sort of combat team or a group of superheroes or something, and Charlie Brown had grown up into this big, huge bruiser guy, like he was like a boxer looking thing. It was really creepy looking, and I can't find it.
okay. Uh,
Oh,
Here we
wow.
go.
Well, okay, here's something I did find. Let me, come on, paste. Oh, for crying out loud. Copy image, paste. There we go. And present now. It's not exactly the thing I'm looking for, exactly the thing I was thinking of, but
Beautiful.
and
Charlie Brown
then
with a
there's,
BAR. All right.
then there's that one.
Oh my. Okay, now the anime Lucy, she reminds me of Kogome, whatever the name is from Inuyasha.
It's been a long time since I experienced Inuyasha.
Okay
And
then.
I still can't find the picture I'm looking for, but yeah.
And this one I won't even. No, I won't even. No, that's just not working at all.
Hmm.
Meow.
Yeah, the kitty, she does want the food. 8 more minutes. Yeah, she's giving me a dirty look now.
Oh, you being so true to the schedule, huh?
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons actually that I'm true to the schedule is because it's also when I take my brain meds.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Still have you on that stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Is that going to end up being one of those things where they tell you you're going to come off of it whatever time and you end up being on it forever?
If it is, I'm going to tell them to fuck off. Like, seriously, if it goes on too much longer, I'm going to tell them you start ramping me down or I find a new doctor.
Okay, then. Now,
I'm just saying.
one thing,
I'm not putting up with the brain meds for the rest of my life. Fuck that.
well, one thing I did discover, I mean, sadly enough, was that if I do go long enough without it, I do experience a very slight return of the symptoms. So unfortunately, the slip of the tongue from the neurosurgeon is probably the case with me. I mean, when I got out of hospital, I ended up asking him, "Yeah, how long am I going to be on this stuff?" Yeah, well, for the rest, I mean, for 10 years or so, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm looking back on it now, and it's, yeah, the rest of my life.
So I gotta say here that Peppermint Patty is kind of hot. And actually, so is Marcy, for that matter.
Okay,
In
then.
this,
Yeah,
in
okay.
this picture, that's, yeah. I wouldn't roll either one of them out of bed. I'm just saying. I really wish I could find that picture. Oh, and now Columbia thinks nuzzling is going to get her fed earlier.
Still 6 minutes, you little.
Oh my gosh, is that an anime version of the IT crowd? Crazy pants. I don't know how that ended up in the search for Charlie Brown, but still. Oh,
Move.
jeepers.
Yeah, a while back, about a half hour ago, Jackson Heathen wondered what a DNA heritage test of Donald Trump would reveal. Um,
Mostly frog DNA, I think.
I have a, yeah, that sounds about right.
Maybe a little bit of pig.
I don't know, man. Pig seems to be too good for him.
No, because he roots around in shit too.
Moo. Oh my. Well, oh, wait a minute. Let's see if I can do this right here. I cannot do it with the trimmer. Oh well. I mean, I shouldn't give him a hard time over the non-coordination in the trimmer. I mean, he's got enough going on to be given shit for, you know, not necessarily for that.
Well, I mean, well, is there any provision to remove a president for medical reasons?
Yeah, there is. 25th Amendment.
Hmm.
The problem is this: the cabinet and the vice president have to start the process.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, so this is
That,
why it's
that's
never going to
always the
happen.
problem. Is like, oh yeah, we can enforce this thing. We just have to convince people who love it not being enforced to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these people who have a vested interest in things remaining the same are the same folks who are in power, and so we can't get them to do the right thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And is it just me, or did Snoopy never really look much like a beagle?
Never ever. No, I've been had by a beagle, and I know what beagles look like, and Snoopy did not look like a beagle. Well, actually, what I was had by was half beagle, half border collie.
Oh yeah, which border?
Let's see. The border between Cleveland and Newburgh Heights, I think.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but yeah, Miji looked like a border collie and sounded like a beagle. And she was the house puppy. Because the ex had a tenant in the other part of the house, and Miji just freely went upstairs, downstairs, that whole thing. You know, she was everybody's dog.
Yeah. So we are coming up on feeding time soon, and I think we're going to be feeding Kate at the same time because I am quite hungry.
Oh, okay. Um, did you decide on what to have?
Food.
Oh, okay. Good food, tasty food. Yeah, I used to drive my
Well, I
ex.
didn't say that part.
Used to drive my ex crazy with that. What do you want for dinner? Food. What kind of food? Tasty food. Fuck you! What do you want to eat?
Yeah. Part of me is tempted to to say screw cooking and just get delivery or something, but nah.
Oh my, yeah.
If nothing else, cooking will not take nearly as long and will cost far less. So,
I mean, there are times I wish I could do a Chinese takeaway, but we're talking a little bit more money than I want to lay out.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even sure what I'd get if I got takeout or delivery or what the fuck ever.
Yeah, there's
I
been.
know that I would really love some more Kung Pao chicken.
Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Yeah, that's when I was grocery shopping the last time around. I saw some of the packets, the flavor packets that you can get for the fried rice and for the Szechuan sauce and all. It's all fake, but one of them was Kung Pao sauce. And that got my mind going with one of these days I would like to try making this stuff just to see if I could do it, see how bad it would turn out.
Well, it's seriously about trying to make that char siu sauce, the barbecue sauce, but it costs so much to build it from scratch.
Okay, so it's better to spend $6 or $8 for the jar of the stuff than to try to make it up from
Yeah.
ingredients. Yeah, okay.
Like you wouldn't believe, it is so much more cost effective to buy a jar of the stuff. I mean, like let's put it this way: if I tried to make it from scratch, it'd probably be about $30, $40.
Oh wow. Okay, now this makes
Yeah.
me wonder what the differential is between the real thing and the stuff you get in a jar. I mean, how fake and how watered down is the stuff in the jar?
Well, watered down does not describe it in any way. It's almost a gel.
Well, when I say watered down, in other words, how far from authentic is it?
I don't know, but at the same time, I'm not sure authentic is necessarily a selling point.
Okay, okay.
I mean, because what I end up doing is pretty close to what I get in the restaurant.
Oh, okay,
Compl- the only complaint I have is how it doesn't seem to marinate very well. But I think
okay.
I know what I've been doing wrong, and part of it was just me assuming that when they said it's barbecued pork fried rice, that I was supposed to barbecue it the way we understand barbecue. Truth is, it's a lot closer to baked fried rice than anything else, or rather that the rice itself is fried. Obviously, the stir fry itself is fried, but the barbecue part is really more of a bake.
Okay then.
Anyway,
Okay.
I really do have to go. I have cats to feed and a Kate to feed. So I will talk to you.
Okay. Well, as always, thanks for coming by, hon. I appreciate every minute of it, and be good and have fun.
Okay.
Yay!
Later.
Okay. Oh my. Okay, so here we are. Let me get camera two going here because I don't think you guys want to see my ugly mug twice. Um, yeah, Omega Nuts, you did hear that correctly. Yes. Yeah, Yeah, it's amazing how much it can sometimes cost to make something from scratch versus getting it from the store shelf. Um, and which is why I was asking a lot of times, it's because the stuff on the store shelf is a pale imitation of the real thing. But if Kate's getting what she gets in a restaurant from the store shelf and she likes it, okay, now there's the thing. If she likes it, it's fine. Um, I know the General Tso's chicken that I so dearly love is nowhere near authentic, but I like it. And I will eat it, and I will continue to eat it, and I will make it here at home. The only reason I don't make it more often than I do, which might be 2 or 3 times a year, is because I use every kitchen implement in the house to make it. Because you make the you make the cornstarch slurry, and then with the soy sauce in it and everything else, and you marinate the chicken in that for a while you're doing the other stuff, and then from there you put it in the wok, and then you get it stir frying in the wok with a few other things going in, and by the time you're through with it, I've been known to use 5 or 6 bowl type implements, and a couple frying implements and things like this. And it takes me a day and a half to clean up after I make it. I mean, if I have to say it myself, I do it pretty well. But yeah, it's all the work that goes into it. Maybe I'll have to do it again one of these days soon. And I'd like to learn how to do some authentic Oriental cooking. And yeah, I know you don't like that word, but that's no big deal. Authentic Chinese, authentic Korean, authentic Japanese. But I mean, just to learn how to do that stuff and to do it and everything, and I'll get around to it eventually. I really will. It's just a matter of getting around to doing it. Oh shit! But other than that, yeah, it's all kinds of fun here, and well, that's one of the things. Tomorrow, I'm actually going out of the house. I've got some things to get and everything else, and maybe I'll get some. Maybe I'll get some ingredients to make something I haven't made in a while, and then make what I haven't made in a while, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And I've been eating burgers the last 3 or 4 days, and it's getting old, so I'm gonna have to come up with something else. Pan fried this time around. I mean, I have grilled burgers a couple of times over the past 2 weeks. And yes, I do like the grilling the burgers and everything, but I ran myself out of charcoal. So I have to get some more charcoal before I grill some more burgers. I'll get a larger bag this time. I didn't think I was going to grill as much as I'm liking to grill at this point. And grilled corn. Yum, 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 yum. Grilled corn. Tasty and yummy. And then standing around and almost getting hit by a tree as it falls. Yeah, I haven't looked outside lately to see if that's been cleaned up or not. But yes, absolutely, amiga, absolutely. I do have to do. Here's what I want to do. See if I can. I want to film making stuff and keep filming and let it sit in the can as I'm doing the filming and everything, and just start releasing them one a week or something like that. And see if I can go for the rest of the year with that. And then, of course, the other thing I want to do, if I get that going and if I keep it up and everything else, I want a show-specific apron and chef's hat. We'll see what we can do with that. And it's a while before I do that. And then maybe I can offer those as perks for patronage. Who knows? I've got to watch that carefully, though. I've got to watch that really, really carefully because I can't make too much. Otherwise, if I make too much money, I'm in trouble. Can you imagine that? Can you really imagine trouble if you make too much money? Yeah, it can happen. We'll see how that goes. And what the heck? Okay, no, don't hammer on the ring. Don't deform it such that I can't get it off the finger. Oh man, yeah, I'm getting into little bits and pieces of jewelry here. I now have 3 rings rather than 1. Just got one. What was it? Yesterday? Yesterday or the day before? I forget. Well, it would have been yesterday because it would not have come Sunday. But I mean, for let's see here. Yeah, for $10, you got this little thing, and it's fake and everything else. But hell, not a bad little thing. The worst of it, I think I said this before on this show. Worst of it is finding rings that'll fit me. Because the rings, usually size 5, size 6, something like that. This guy is a size 13. Yeah! Yeah, I don't find that many size 13s in women's rings, let me tell you. But it's just the way it goes, Moo! Crazy rules, yes. And what I think I'm going to end up doing is, as time goes on, just piece by piece, until I have about as many rings as Neil, the 604 atheist. I think he's got a ring for every finger, or maybe more than one on some of the fingers. Oh man, that's wait a minute, Von Rick, are you saying that size 13 is small for you? Oh man, what have you got? Trees for fingers? Oh my. But at least I found a place where I can get some of the larger sizes going. And then, yeah, 2 of my fingers are size 13, and then we go down from there. I think the median size is 11. But yeah, it's. No, I guess I like the jewelry. I don't want to look like Miss Cleo or any of this stuff. These what do you want to call it? Woo-woo types with all the costume jewelry and everything else. But I mean, if I can manage the jewelry and be tasteful, then we can do that. Gods, man, way too small. Holy shit! What are you, Paul Bunyan's brother? Is that it? Or sister, or whatever? Oh man. But yeah, it's now my finger sizes are going down just a little bit. What I've finally done, if I can keep this going, I'm going to be happy. But if I can keep this going, I think I have cracked the wall. Yeah, you're in California, right? Um, but I actually, the last few times I've put myself on a bathroom scale, I showed up at 203. So I managed to get under 205 and stay there for a little while. I just want to keep that going. That's pretty kind of nice. And if I can manage to get to if I can manage to get to 180, I would be very happy. And of course, the larger rings won't fit me at that point, but that'll be okay. No big deal. Um, but yeah, I remember weighing in at about 180, and I really liked it. I felt good. Of course, I remember 160 or 165, and I felt really, really good. The trouble is that at the time I was 22 years old. So, yeah, I don't know if I can get down to the weight I posted, 41 years ago and still feel good. But, oh, Washington. Oh, really? You feel like going a little bit east of that? We're in Ohio, because I think you know that I'm in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, I can grill some burgers and corn. So, oh man, I remember 150. Yeah, I broke 150 at about the age of 10. Seriously. Oh my. Um, oh my word. Yeah, you would be not that far from me, sweetness. We'll have to talk. See if I can convince you into coming a little farther east. My sister lived near Columbus for a while. Um, yeah, she lived in Gahanna, which is a northwest suburb of Columbus, and fun, 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 fun. Boston is fun. I don't think I want to live in Boston, but it's not a bad place to visit. I love Boston Harbor. God, it's been a while since I've been there. Last time I was in Boston was 77. Yeah, just a little while ago. Yeah, so there's what I don't know. Yeah, one thing I'd like to be able to do is get out of town a little bit. Um, I mean, not this year, definitely, but it was so nice getting out of town back in 2017 that I'd like to be able to do it again. Um, and I have the little thought going, what do I want to do? Do I want to go back to Chicago, or do I want to go to Boston? Um, so, we'll see what happens. Um, but I don't know when something like that would be. I mean, we'd have to be finished with the virus crap, and that won't be for a long time. And I'd have to get the money together, and that won't be for a long time. Um, right? Yeah. Just I-70 East. I think it's a bit less than 3 hours, depending on how you drive. Um, might be 2.5, something like that. I'm pretty sure that from here to Cleveland is about 2.5. It's 100 nautical miles from here to Cleveland. Um, been a while since I've been back to Cleveland. Yeah, my ex's father wanted to have a look around the area where I grew up, so we took a day trip at one point, and he was favorably impressed. I was favorably impressed. I was amazed at how much Cleveland had improved from what it was when I lived there. Um, there you go, sweetness. There you go. Speed racer mode. Yeah. Springs under the car, and then boing, 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 and then come back down in Cleveland or whatever, or Columbus. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Yeah, but I mean, when I lived in Cleveland, I I lived in Cleveland 32 years ago. So yeah, there was quite a bit of improvement. Even okay, let's see. The ex, her father, and I did that day trip to Cleveland. Maybe about 12 years ago, 12 or 13 years ago, and there was a big improvement between that and what it was in '88 when I left. Um, I can imagine things might be a little bit better than that right now. Um, okay, yeah, yeah. I've never been to the Rock and Roll Museum. I've been on its lawn. That was yeah when we did that day trip. It's right next to the football stadium. Um, but the I'm trying to remember what they call it now. When it first started, it was the Tower Cities project or the Tower City project. That whole area in and under Terminal Tower in the middle of downtown. That was really, really nicely done when I was there. That, as I say, that would have been about 2006, 2007, something like that. Um, it was definitely before my ex and I broke up, which was in 2009. Um, I don't know, maybe it would be interesting to go out there just to get around a little bit and see some of the old stuff and everything else. And I can imagine that the old neighborhood has not fared as well as, let's say, downtown. I mean, when I look at it on Google Maps, there's a lot of empty, almost like a war zone. But then again, the old neighborhood I'm talking about is inner city, pretty darn close to where the 1968 riots occurred. And yeah, never really did improve. But what are you going to do? Um, Economically disadvantaged and everything else like that. But oh well. Yeah. At any rate, um, yeah, it's I'll get around a little bit once all this stuff is done, and I know the virus stuff isn't going to be done for a very long time. Travel's going to be screwed up for quite a while if it ever recovers at all. I don't know, um, but we'll see what happens, and what are you going to do? Yeah, where I lived. When Sandra and I were married, there's been quite a bit of improvement uh, from that time, but that's not inner city. That's pretty darn close to. It's pretty darn close to Parma. You could have walked from where we lived to Parma rather easily. And yeah, Parma was the lily whitest suburb in the country. But yeah, what are you going to do? Um, oh, well, yeah, but yeah, pretty soon I think I'm going to start closing things down because it's going to be, yeah, absolutely, Amiga. Yeah, pretty soon I'm going to have to go into the little girl's room and take care of some stuff so that we'll think about winding down here in a minute or two. But yeah, let's see if I can't get to work a little bit and come up with a theme for Sunday. Today was just totally open because I think I had said uh, I woke up 2 hours before the show was due to start. And yeah, thank you, very stable milking stool, and thank you, Purple Rhymes with Orange. Uh, Sunday's show ran, I think, close to 13 hours. And yeah, that kind of took it out of me there for a while. So yeah, it ended over here, and then I just fell into bed, and it took a while to wake up. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, Ohio's very white. It's very red. Um, you've got those. Well, Ohio and Pennsylvania are rather similar in this respect. You've got the small enclaves of sanity. Um, Ohio has Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, believe it or not. I mean, I remember it being blood red, but I guess it's improved a little bit. Um, I'm sorry, Pennsylvania has Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Harrisburg. Can you believe it? Is an enclave. But in both states, the remainder of the state is as red as a used tampon on a heavy flow day. And this is not a good thing. Um, I would not want to go back to Ohio for any reason. I'm not all that enamored of Pennsylvania, but can afford to leave. So, I've been here. It amazes the shit out of me. I've been here 32 years simply because I can't afford to go anywhere else. Oh my. But what is for to doing on that? Is a little bit this, little bit that, is the poo poo, and lots of poo poo. Okay, then. Yeah, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the little girl's room, and I think I may actually look into turning some ingredients into food as well. So I'm going to say it. I want to thank everybody who's here. I want to thank everybody who's not here. Every one of you. I am so happy, so grateful that you guys appreciate this stuff. And I mean, I'll keep doing it as long as you keep liking it. No accounting for taste, okay, kids? I mean, I don't know that I would actually watch me, but you do, so no big deal here. I like it. Thank you, thank you, thank you so ever much. And what did I just say? What? Indeed he does. Indeed he many much does. And as I say, I really appreciate your fanage, shall we say. And as long as you keep liking it, I'll keep doing it and try to come up with new and better things and stuff like that. And all sorts of wonderful things. Let me get the cursor over here. And okay then, I will say thanks a lot, troops. See you on the other side.